So this week has been about the OPEC cut. We've got OPEC cutting to 32 million barrels per day, non-OPEC by 600,000 barrels. That's been supportive for the oil majors, their free cash flow, the ability for them to pay their dividends. It's also supportive for inflation expectations and therefore the areas of the market that benefit from reflation. Internally, we're asking how far this reflation trade goes. We've obviously seen really good performance from the commodity sectors, the industrials, the financials, and Japanese and Chinese listed exporters because of the strong dollar. The questions we're asking now is, will there be an event that will change that momentum? We're looking at Chinese data, we're looking at the implementability of these supply cuts, we're looking at the implementation of Trump pre-election promises. We're looking at where the 10-year yield can get to, and when we start to see upside resistance to that, we're looking at what the ECB's next step in terms of QE is, or whether the Bank of England will cut rates in May, and finally what the Fed response will be to the stronger dollar. So we're seeing, while the market may look high and the Dow's trading at its highs, there are pockets of real value out there in really good stocks. So a number of the domestic consumer stocks are at 52-week lows with 30% upside to previous highs. Structural growth and technology stocks, which we think still have great revenue momentum despite what's been going on, are 15% off the top. And finally, UK and European property, which are very sensitive to those yield movements, are around 30%, 25 to 30% from previous highs. So we see real opportunities to buy pockets of the market that have been negatively impacted by the reflation trade. It's a light week for reporting next week, and my colleagues in research are going to preview Ashad and Imagination Technologies and talk about Renzi and the referendum on constitutional reform.
One of the companies that will be reporting next week is Ashad. This is a US and UK equipment rental business. We like it for its exposure to an increase in expenditure on infrastructure in the US under President Trump. Around 85% of revenues come from the US. Basically, what the business does is it rents out a variety of equipment from large powered equipment to small hand tools as well. It's playing the need for people to rent equipment rather than buy it, as well as consolidating a fragmented market in the US. So that is one of our top plays as a way to play increased US infrastructure spending.
2016 has been a year of major political events, and we have another one this weekend in the form of an Italian referendum on constitutional reforms. The reforms have been proposed by Prime Minister Matteo Renzi and are designed to essentially make the country easier to govern. A vote against the reforms has potentially wide-reaching implications. Renzi has said he will resign if there is a no vote, and this could lead to early elections and could potentially open the door to populist parties such as the Five Star Movement and the Northern League. Concerns over the outcome, with the most recent poll suggesting that Renzi will lose a referendum, have played into Italian asset prices, with both government bonds and equities in Italy underperforming their peers. Although there are various ramifications that could come out of this weekend's referendum, what is fairly certain to say is that a no vote will take Italy into another period of political uncertainty, so it's certainly an event worth watching in our opinion.
Imagination Technologies, the semiconductor IP vendor, are announcing their half-year results on Tuesday the 6th of December. So we're bullish on the shares because of the exposure they have to a range of consumer electronics trends that we believe are not fully reflected in current market forecasts. At the same time, the shares trade at a discount to their international peers. They trade on sub 5 times EV to sales versus their peers, which are trading on more like 7 times. So two key things I'm expecting from the results. One is the confirmation of a heavy H2 weighting. This is always the case for Imagination Tech, given their reliance on Apple and Apple's reliance on Christmas. But this year I think we'll have more so, given MediaTek, another licensee, are launching a new product in the second half. The final thing is FX. So the company are a beneficiary of weak sterling because they have a lot of their cost base in sterling and all of their revenue in dollars. So it means you have a positive effect there. And we know that the guidance the company has given to the market has been on the basis of the pound being 10% stronger than it currently is. So we think that will provide a useful tailwind.